like fingerprinting, right? There's only one of me, only one of you. There's only one fingerprint in the whole world. And in the same way, there's only one soul print. There's only one purpose for you. And Torah is a vehicle through your personal interpretation for that.
Go to our website, which is HebrewLearningCircles.org. Go to Jewish Resources, scroll down to Parsha Videos, and you'll find the source sheet right there.
Very exciting, the very last Parsha of the Torah, VeZot HaBrakha. Now, it's really special, right? So it's Erev Sukkot, it's also Friday evening, and next week we're going to be switching again to the beginning of the reading of the cycle of the Torah reading. And VeZot HaBrakha literally means, and this is the blessing. And that's how the parsha begins. VeZot HaBrakha asher berach Moshe ish ha'Elohim et bnei Yisrael lifnei moto. This is the blessing with which Moses, God's agent, or the man of God, it's another way of translating it, bade the Israelites farewell before he died. And there's a list of different blessings. It's poetic. Going a few verses down, we have the verse that we're going to focus on today. Torah tziva lanu Moshe morasha kehilat Yaakov. And for those of you who go to synagogue, we like to sing it. Torah, 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 Torah tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, Torah, that's a song. So this is where it comes from this Parsha VeZot HaBrakha. And it says, when Moses charged us with the teaching, which is Torah, as a heritage of the congregation of Jacob. How is this verse one of Moses' blessings? Instructing or commanding the Torah upon us as a inheritance. How is this a blessing? Asks the Izhbitzer. Also, how strict is the commanded, because it says tziva, which instructed, commanded, how strict and how inherited morasha, right? So what's the dynamic here? So and again, how is that a blessing? How is it a blessing to have something commanded in your face and you're saddled with for the all eternity throughout all generations? Also, is there a difference between Torah for the community, which is Kehilat Yaakov in the verse, and Torah for the individual? Torah tziva lanu Moshe. Moses instructed, commanded us with Torah, us meaning each individual. So is there a difference between an inheritance for the entire community and a Torah that's commanded for the individual? And those are some of the things that the Izhbitzer is going to open up for us. Let's jump right in. It's a fascinating discussion. So before we actually read the words of the Izhbitzer, I want to share and kind of clarify a verse from the Talmud that the Izhbitzer is going to lean on as he is opening up a deeper meaning for this verse. And in Talmud Berachot, page 57, the Talmud here is discussing the meaning of different kinds of dreams that people can have, different kind of scenarios, and what are their meaning. So this verse, this particular one, goes like this: Haba al ne'ara me'orasa b'chalom. One who sees that he had relations, meaning sexual relations, with a betrothed young woman, a woman who is engaged to be married, in a dream. Now, before I continue, let me just make the point that it's forbidden to have relations with engaged woman. According to the Torah, engagement, a woman who's engaged, by definition, is no longer free to have sexual relations with anyone but the person she's engaged with after the wedding. This is important, okay, in order to appreciate this verse and how it's going to help us later with understanding the verse in the Torah. Yitzapeh leTorah. He should anticipate Torah. So a person who has that dream at night, when he wakes up, he can expect Torah, can expect a teaching. Why? Says the Talmud, Shenemar, Torah tziva lanu Moshe, Morasha Kilat Yaakov. The Talmud here is quoting the very same verse in VeZot HaBrakha that we're going to open up in a moment. And it says something curious. It says, Al tikri morasha ela meorasa. And let me translate. As it is stated, Moses commanded us Torah, an inheritance, morasha, of the congregation of Jacob. Do not read it as morasha. Don't read the word morasha, inheritance, literally. Rather, read it as me'orasa, betrothed. And the Talmud here is playing between, with the proximity, the similarity between morasha and me'orasa. Very similar words. All right. So the Izhbitzer is now going to borrow that link of words, morasha and me'orasa. So he starts by quoting the beginning of that verse, Torah tziva lanu Moshe, morasha. Moses has commanded us with Torah as an inheritance. Veine yishnei inyanim. The Izhbitzer says, now there are two different issues that are expressed in this verse. Hainu mashem mevarchin b'chol yom asher natan lanu et torato v'gam noten haTorah. One is related to the blessing that we say every morning at the beginning of the morning prayer protocol in the prayer book, before we study a little verses from Torah, because we start every prayer service with a little study of Torah. This is to some it's a little known fact that our prayer service is actually made of a lot of sections of straight Torah study. It's a big part of the prayer practice is to actually read verses from Torah and focus on verses from Torah. And there's a long bracha that we say before we start the section of in Shacharit. For studying different paragraphs from Torah, and we end that bracha with Baruch Ata Hashem Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Natan Lanu Torat Emet V'Chayei Olam Nata B'Tocheinu Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah. And the essence of that bracha. This is, by the way, also the same bracha we recite before Torah is read ritually in the synagogue. And the essence of that bracha is God who's given us the Torah, God giver of the Torah. That is the theme of that bracha. And the Izhbitzer here says that we say that every day. And what does that mean? What is that actually alluding to? Kima sheishrishu avot belev kol Yisrael, that which our ancestors, and he's specifically referring to our ancestors who have given us the Torah, and that would be Abraham and Sarah, Isaac and Rebekah, Jacob, Rachel and Leah, and then also Aaron, Miriam, and Moses. Those are all the forefathers and foremothers who have been involved with us receiving the Torah. And he says they have rooted within Israel, shelo yazuz velo imot leolam, that the Torah should be permanent and fixed, rooted, right? And can never be removed. And there's no sin in the world that can actually disrupt that sacredness, that sanctity of the Torah. Zei kareh natan. This is what the bracha means by giving. That God who has given us the Torah. Giving in the sense of rooting in us. So this is the quality of Torah that is so indestructible, so eternal, so foundational, right? This is the teaching that is the core, you could say the foundation of everything Jewish, everything holy, and so on, claim everything in the world, right? There's the Midrash that says that God consulted with the Torah when God created the world. Obviously, I don't think there's a point of taking that literally, but understanding that more deeply is that the teaching, the spiritual cognitive mental framework that is behind creation, that is kind of holds creation to a structure, right? To a functional pattern. In other words, other than chaos, right? Is what we mean when we say Torah. We don't only mean the book and the stories and the laws, but we mean the concept of a paradigmatic, eternal, foundational reality, right? When we say God is the giver of the Torah, or God has given us the Torah, or Moses has commanded us the Torah, we're saying that. You know, there's something that we've received as an inheritance that is just so permanent, right? So indestructible. And on the other hand, that which the Holy One, blessed be, has granted to each soul within Israel. So here we're looking now at the two aspects of Torah. There's a Torah for the entire people, like the Torah Israel, the Torah of Israel, but there's also the Torah, or the piece of the Torah, that each individual in Israel is receiving at the individual level. And he continues, Shehu Yechadesh beHatorah Chadashot. Okay? And so he's interpreting, what does that individual level mean? It means that each individual should and can and should be reinterpreting Torah in new ways. It's upon individuals to find new meanings, to filter Torah through one's own intelligence, one's own soul, one's own life experience, and bring something new, glean something new in each situation, in each generation, right? In each community. This is on the individual, but here's the caveat. At this level of individual interpretation, a person can blemish, can disrupt, God forbid. On one hand, we have the indestructible Torah that holds the Jewish project, the people of Israel's project together. By definition, the core, the foundation, and the pattern of being a people of Israel is intertwined, inseparable from Torah. And on the other hand, we have the capacity and the calling for each individual to find personal meaning. And there is the risk of misinterpreting, right? There's a trial and error element to that. And he continues, V'zeh ha'inyan shepirshu Chazal, and this is why the sages interpreted in the little paragraph of Talmud that we read in the beginning in Brachot 57, Morasha u'me'urasa. That's why the sages said that the word Morasha is not only Morasha, but Me'urasa. Morasha means inheritance, again, and Me'urasa means betrothal. Morasha, Hainu Kedushat Avot. Morasha is referring to the sacredness of the forefathers. That is the Torah at the level of the collective that is absolutely indestructible. Ume'urasa, hainu mashnitan la'adam lechadesh. And betrothal is pointing to that which is within the jurisdiction of each individual to innovate and reinterpret. And going back to the questions, how is this verse one of Moses' blessings? How strict is the commandment as well as the inheritance? And is there a difference between Torah for the community and Torah for the individual? That Torah is the greatest blessing that that we are receiving, constantly receiving from the upper realms. So there's something about Torah that's so core on a practical level. It's the one common denominator for all Jews around the world, all levels of Jews in terms of knowledge, practice, exposure, abilities, etc. From the person who's has the least resources in terms of Torah study and Jewish spirituality, the person who has the most resources and experience. We share the same Torah. It all ties us together. When we stand on Yom Kippur, fasting before our Creator, and ask the question of our worthiness, right? Have we earned? Are we earning the privilege to live another year? Do we have what it takes? Really making good on the promise that is us, both individually and as a people. We're connecting at the cross point of Torah. Torah is the hub of all the spokes that are the people. In a very real way, in a very practical way. It's a shared story, it's a shared language. It's been the influence of everything that has transpired for the 3,000 and more years of Jewish history. So in that sense, Torah is a blessing. What the Izhbitzer here is telling us is that the blessing has two sides. One side is that it's a connection and an expression of a truth that's bigger than anything that we can influence. Whether we're here or not, the Torah, the truth that the eternal truth that Torah is expressing is there. It doesn't care. It's kind of like the thing that has been there before me and will be there after me. And just it has that grandeur, it has that standing. On the other hand, it's a blessing because it's a gateway and a vehicle for my particular soul, my individual, unique, like fingerprinting, right? There's only one of me, only one of you. There's only one fingerprint in the whole world. And in the same way, there's only one soul print. There's only one purpose for you. And Torah is a vehicle through your personal interpretation for that permission to bring your own color, your own angle, your own understanding to Torah. That is the blessing that honors each one of us as an individual. That is the Morasha and Meorasa. It's a great teaching for, Sukkot coming up, and at the end of Sukkot, we have Simchat Torah, and we transition from the very end of the Torah to starting the cycle of reading again. Just an ecstatic, joyful event with singing, with dancing, with taking the Torahs out. Some communities even unscroll, unfurl the entire Torah. So what a good teaching to help us enter into the season of the joy of Sukkot and the ending and beginning of the cycle that's been going on since we have received Torah until now and on into the future. I want to wish us a blessing of a deep appreciation of that interface, that potential interface between my soul, your soul, and the cosmic soul. I look forward to studying with you again next week. Shalom for now.
Today, thank you, everybody. Again, click subscribe button. Doesn't cost you anything. We really appreciate that. Like to have that extra layer of connection with you. Like and subscribe. Come back. Boy says so